Okay, welcome to the fourth video in using the Korg mixer with additional equipment here at West Herts Music Technology Department. What I'm going to show you now is how to set up a line level signal instrument with a DI box. Before I get into what a DI box is, we'll just explain the line level, the difference between that and a microphone. Now, line level instruments tend to be things like what I've got in my hand here, a bass guitar, could be an electric guitar, could be a drum machine, it could even be a sampler, the output on a sampler or a synthesizer. And line level signals tend to be weaker than mic signals, so when you plug them in with jack cables, which is the traditional method of plugging them in, it can be a weaker signal that's hard to mix in with all the microphone signals. So we need to find a way so we can boost that signal and make it louder. What we're going to do first of all is plug in the line level instrument I've got here, which is a bass guitar. Now the bass guitar has a jack input on it, and in most guitars they require mono jack cables, and I just have a little example here of a mono cable. So this is a mono jack cable, so it has two ends on it and it has a little black ring at the top. This shows that it's a mono instrument cable, and my other one here, which is a similar cable, in fact it's the same except that it's a stereo one, so it has two rings at the top. So you've got a thicker black ring at the top and a slightly thinner one underneath. If you want to see more on mono and stereo, then look out for a later video on that. But now we're going to plug in the line level instrument. So for this we're going to use the mono jack cable. Make sure that we have it out so that we don't cause people to trip up. So we're going to plug that in to the bass guitar. And then we're going to plug the other end into channel 2. If you watched the last video, you would have seen we recorded a voice into channel 1. So we're going to continue that session, which is called Mark 0001, and we're going to plug in the line level instrument to channel 2. So the line level instrument input is the one underneath the microphone input. So we plug that in, and again we set the desk up like we set up the microphone channel. We put the fader to 0 or unity gain. We then just tweak our gain a little bit at the top to give it a bit of boost. I like to keep the EQ flat to start with, and then you can leave the pan in the middle. We then arm the channel using the arm button on channel 2, and we arm the overall desk by pressing record. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play in to the desk this line level signal. Now that signal is slightly stronger than a bass normally is because I've boosted the gain, but if I turn the gain down, if I put it to 12 o'clock, which is kind of the standard positioning that gain is in, and play again, you'll see that it's a slightly weak signal, and it's coming up to about 18. So on the level readout meter we need that to be louder. So to make that louder we're going to use a DI box. Now a DI box is a piece of equipment we have available here at the college, and it looks like this. Now DI stands for direct injection, and to put it simply, what this allows us to do is to put a weaker line level signal into the unit via the input. You've got an XLR input and a jack input, and it boosts the signal. So it gives the signal a bit of a kick, so it's louder and you'll be able to mix it easier. And then you can output it via an XLR to jack or an XLR to XLR into the mixer. Also on the direct injection box, you need to make sure that these switches are on, so you've got the power on, and then we have this one here called lift and earth. Now if any of you have ever owned a vinyl player, you'll notice that when you plug it in and put your record on, that you get a kind of hissing sound or a rumbling kind of motorized mechanical sound, and by pressing the earth switch you can actually negate some of that sound, so it's a bit quieter, so you can get a more professional recording. Some people like that sound, some people don't, so that's up to you. On the other side we have a pad switch Now you want to set that to 0 dB, but if you find that the signal that you're getting once you plug it into the DI box is too loud, too powerful to work with, you can just drop the pad down to 20 dB or even 40 dB and it will cut the signal even more. You'll still get that powerful sound the DI box gets, but it will just be a little bit easier to mix with the microphone signals. So what we're going to do now is we're going to plug the DI box in. So what we do is that we take the jack out of the mixer. I'm going to put all the gain and the faders down for now, because you can get pops and clicks when you plug things in. If someone's got a pair of headphones on, they could get their ears damaged. We plug in the instrument into the input, like so. I'm going to put it on 0 dB first of all, and now we're going to output via an XLR. So I'm going to use the XLR we used in the previous video. You'll notice I've done it up already, so it's away from people's feet on the floor so they're not tripping up. And again, I'm just going to make sure that the cable isn't all wrapped up around itself. So we plug into the output on the DI, and then we go into the mic input on the channel. It's okay to plug a DI from a line level instrument into the DI, then into the mic level input. It's fine to do that. Okay, so now we need to power up our DI box. Now you can either do it via batteries. It takes 9-volt batteries, but that requires to unscrew the port and you won't have a screwdriver on you. Maybe some of you will. But the main way of doing it is to use phantom power. Now this is 48 volts of power that is actually passed on through the desk to the unit to make it work. And there's a little phantom power button on the desk. We just press that, and when that comes on, we see the lights come on. If I turn that off, it goes away. If I switch it on, it comes back. That means our DI box is now active. So what I can now do, if I place the DI box safely on top of the mixer, I can then set my levels again, so go to 0 dB or unity gain, set my gain to 12 o'clock. I can adjust it afterwards, make sure I've got my record arm on and my master arm, and then I can play through and then see if my signal's been affected. So you can see already that it's slightly louder. I can push the gain just a tiny little bit. Even with a DI box, sometimes you will want to use the gain just to get the sound of the preamp on the mixer. And you can see we've got a nice healthy signal that's the equivalent to a mic signal, which makes it easier to mix when you're putting your final mix together of your song or your beat or your session. And that is how to use a DI box with a 9-level instrument.